Hi, everybody. I have a unicorn book. Margaret's Unicorn. It's a library book by Briony May Smith. Margaret's Unicorn. Let's read it. Oh, I love that color purple. Margaret's Unicorn. Margaret's Unicorn by Briony May Smith. And it looks beautiful. Look at that. Picture of the country. Picture of the fog coming in, going out, clouds, mountains. My whole world changed when we moved to a faraway place, to a cottage in the mountains, to be near Grandma. Everything smelled different and strange, and the house was full of empty spaces. And they open the door, and it creaked, kind of like my creaky chair. And they're moving in with the boxes. Do you remember moving? Sometimes people move, and sometimes when you move into an empty house, it seems a little creepy or scary. But you have to bring the love with you. And here they're moving. That first afternoon, Dad said, "Marguerite, why don't you go exploring? By the time you come back, your new room will look just like your old room, I promise." Mom put hot chocolate in a thermos. Be careful not to go further than the big stone, she said, and gave me a kiss. And so in their brand new place, the mommy packed her a thermos and told her to go out and play when they were unpacking their boxes. Well, here's a stone. I don't know if it's the big stone. We'll see. Here's Marguerite. And now she went outside. Uh-oh. I think she's definitely past these are definitely big stones. When I reached the big stone at the end of our garden, I saw the sea spread out before me. A heavy fog was traveling through the sky, and soon the water was covered in mist. No, that wasn't mist. It was clouds. No, they weren't clouds. They were white horses. No, they weren't horses. They were unicorns. They were leaping into the air, swept up by the wind, and then, blink, they were gone. Look at the painting of the unicorns. Up here. Those, she said, are unicorns. Whoa. Look at the wonderful painting. Her hair is going back from the wind. And here's the next few pages. I started to run back to tell Mom and Dad when I heard a snuffling noise. I tiptoed closer and closer, and down a little dip, where something silvery lay tangled in the weeds. A baby! I gasped. Carefully, I freed him and then wrapped him in my coat. And you can just see. You see this? It's a baby unicorn. And then she went home. When I got home, Grandma was at the door. She'd come to help us unpack. I didn't think there were any left, she said. I told her all about the herd that had flown past me. When I was a girl, she said, smiling, we would watch the unicorns fly off to Unicorn Island on the last summer wind. And here's a picture of the grandma talking to the girl, and she's got the unicorn. I wonder what she's going to do with it. I'll bet you unicorn misses its unicorn mommy. Grandma told me everything she knew about unicorns. They can only eat flowers, and there aren't enough here to feed them all year round. Every spring, I would wait for them to come back to eat the young heather and thistles that grow across the mountains. I looked to our cottage window, and there were hardly any flowers to be seen. What will we feed him? I asked. Grandma thought for a moment. She said, "Let's go," she said. We jumped in the car and headed to town. And where did they go? They went to the store to get flowers. I think they went to the florist. At a small shop, we bought bunches of flowers for my little unicorn. And here's the little unicorn. When we got home, we fed him. Look, Grandma is there, and the girl is there, and the baby unicorn, and all the flowers that they're feeding her. You see? When we got home, we fed him. What do unicorns drink? I asked Grandma. Water that has been touched by moonlight, she explained. And what makes their horns glow in the dark? That's what gives them their magic. It's all in the book. It says it right there. I stroked my unicorn's mane, and Grandma and I fished pillows out of my moving boxes to make a cozy nest for him near my bed. What's this part? After Mom and Dad had finished unloading the boxes, they came in to find us in my room with my little unicorn. Mom knelt beside him, and he nuzzled her hand. That night, Dad and I pulled on our boots and headed out to the hills. As soon as the moon touched the stream, we filled buckets of water and carried them home. The water glowed in our dark garage. My unicorn drank as we watched him, amazed. And the unicorn's horn was lighting up. And now that the unicorn had his nighttime water, he was ready to go to sleep, I guess. When I went to sleep, I let the little unicorn climb into my bed with me, and I stroked his speckled coat. My unicorn whimpered. I was so excited to have found him, I'd forgotten how scared he must be. It's okay, I whispered. Spring will come back in no time. The next day, my unicorn and I went for a walk. We crunched through the leaves and caught them as they floated down the trees. I picked up a horse chestnut and opened it carefully and touched its soft inside, which felt like a little fairy fur coat. That evening, we watched the stars come out before heading to bed. They seemed so much brighter here than in our old town. And now it's the daytime and they're outside, but it must still be winter. By the time all the trees were bare, my little unicorn had grown comfortable in our cottage. One of our favorite things to do was to go to the beach and chase the waves. The white foam looked like unicorns rolling and disappearing into the sandy shore. Then we'd race home with cold fingers and toes and hooves. And can you see she's playing with the unicorn at the beach? I still think the unicorn's going to be lonely. A fire, I'll tell my unicorn, is the best thing to cozy up to. We'd curl up together to listen to the rain tap, tap, tap on the window. Isn't that the loveliest sound, I say? At Christmas, we decorated the tree. And the house was filled with the smells of our old home. And they're doing their tradition at Christmas time. And they went outside and they played in the snow. When it snowed for the first time, my unicorn was dazzled by it and by how quiet everything became. We walked down the road and stomped on the frozen puddles. Together, we made a snow unicorn. Dad broke off an icicle that hung from the roof, and we gave it a crystal horn. I was missing our old home less and less. The weather grew warmer, and I saw buds appear on the trees and green shoots start to push up through the ground. Oh, the unicorn was going to eat the flowers. Yellow gorse and dandelion flowers started to bloom in the hills, so I knew my unicorn's family would come back soon, and he would leave. When a unicorn is your friend, you wish spring would stay far away. They're waiting. I think they're waiting for the unicorn's friend family to come back. And here they came. On the first day of spring, as we sat on the hill, the unicorns floated down from the sky like little snowflakes. And here they are on the blanket, and here come the unicorns. Slowly, one of them, with chocolate brown eyes and a soft pink nose, drew close. My unicorn slipped toward her and leaned against her white coat. He nuzzled her cheek. I knew this must be his mother. It was time to say goodbye to my unicorn. Please don't forget me, I whispered into his silky ear, and I hugged him tightly. Now spring has come and gone, and the days have grown longer. I've made some new friends, but I still do miss my unicorn. One day we went walking over the hills, Mom and Dad and Grandma, and my friend Abby and me. As Abby and I were searching for bugs in the tall grass, something nudged my arm, and I turned in surprise. I wonder what she's going to see. Wow! A full-size unicorn! It was my unicorn. He had grown so much already and lost his baby coat. When he raised his head, he was taller than me, wild and beautiful. I plucked a sprig of heather from its stem and held out my palm. Cautiously, my unicorn ate it from my hand, watching me with his dark eyes. His ears flicked back and forth, listening to all around him. I wanted to reach out and touch him. He took one more flower, and then he must have heard something. Or maybe I moved too quickly, because he turned and galloped away at an instant. I scrambled a few paces after him and watched him disappear into the mountains. He was gone. Isn't that a beautiful unicorn? And in Japanese you could say Uni-chan. I turned to Abby, who looked in amazement. That was my old friend, I said. Mom called. It was time to head home, through the heather and the thistles, to our cottage in the mountains. The end. And that's the library book. Margaret's Unicorn. And in Japanese you can say Uni-chan. Bye.